If you're doing it with that tinge of like, I need to prove myself, I hope somebody notices me, I hope they see me finally and bring me into the conversation, it's important to stop for a second and to say, does anybody actually care about the work that I'm doing?
Welcome to Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and I teach you how to get promoted, get paid, and bring your whole self to the leadership table. I am on a mission to change organizations from the C-suite out because women are the new face of leadership, and we are doing it on our terms.
Hello, corporate badasses. Welcome to another episode of Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and super excited, as always, to be here with you again this week. I was having a conversation with an old colleague of mine just yesterday, and when I was talking to her, she interrupted me at some point. She said, you seem so different than the last time I saw you. Now, I had seen her about 6 years earlier. She and I were in a coaching group together as students. We were both building our businesses and trying to reach more women. And she said, you seem so calm, kind of like a queen sitting on her throne. And she said, I remember you when you were in the coaching group and you were very excited. You were incredibly passionate. You were really enthusiastic about the work that you were doing and wanting to reach more women and wanting to make a bigger impact and wanting to do more, all of those great things. But she said, now you just have this calm about you, as if you just are, as if you're just being. And I knew exactly what she was talking about because, one, that's how I feel. I feel much more spacious, much calmer, more identify as that expert. I don't have to show you that I'm an expert. I am an expert. I have arrived. I have helped so many women. I am, of course, continuously growing and trying to challenge myself, and I'm excited to tell you about more opportunities that we can continue to collaborate to get you into a higher level leadership position. But otherwise, I feel good. And this is the overall sentiment inside of my leadership table mastermind as well. I was on a call today, our bi-weekly group calls, and I was talking to them and I was like, wow, look at this room. You guys are all queens sitting on your thrones. And some of these women are women who are unemployed. Some of these women who are recently promoted to senior vice president position, and incredibly busy, making huge waves at their organization, yet they still have this calm about them. Yet they still feel like they're the owners of their destiny, that everything is working out as planned. And I was telling them this story about yesterday, how this woman had said the same exact thing to me. And I think that it's kind of like, which came first, the chicken or the egg, And as women, when we feel very frantic and we're pushing and we're like, wow, nothing's working out and I really want this and I'm so passionate about it. One of the ways that we can get to the other side, to have that majestic calm, to be that queen sitting on our throne, is not to manufacture it, but it's to believe it. It's to start to be it, to begin to work on our ownership. I used to say at the beginning of this podcast, probably several episodes ago, and I stopped saying it. I don't know why. I decided to do something different. And I would say recognition, power, and influence is your birthright. And I believe, like with every power, every little bit of my being, that we are here to continue to pull apart the pieces of ourselves, the layers of the onion that we've layered on top of ourselves over the years, because truly we are just beautiful, amazing women who are not only capable of recognition, power, and influence, we are already doing that. And it's really an important reminder as you go into your week this week to think about, what are the ways that I have arrived? What are all of the things that I have accomplished and all of the things that I have created in my life? And be proud of that, right? So if you're somebody who's listening and you're struggling and you're like, oh, I know it, I see it, I have all these great ideas, and why don't they listen to me? Now I'm going to share with you the actual topic of today's episode. This first part was just a lovely tangent about my life and the powerful community that we are creating in the Leadership Table Mastermind. And by the way, if you want to be a part of that community, not because you have already arrived, but you believe that that is possible for you, then I recommend scheduling a time to talk to me. Go to stacymayer.com/discovery and schedule a time, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see if something like the mastermind might be a great fit for you as well. I would love to bring more women into this powerful space of belonging and inclusion and recognizing our value and really being able to create more abundance for ourselves from that queendom place. It's absolutely available to you right now. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about that place right before the calm, right? The place that is the ickier place, right? The place where we're feeling a little frustrated and a little stuck. And there's something that I hear from a lot of women is this like exasperation because of they did all this work, quote unquote, and nobody cared. So I'm going to give you several examples and begin to share with you today exactly why nobody cares about the work that you do. Now, that can feel incredibly defeating or frustrating, but I really want you to ask yourself, has that happened to me? Like, have I worked my butt off on something and nobody cared? And who did I blame that on? Right? Typically, women will blame it on their boss or that leader. He just didn't get it, or, they didn't have the resources, or nobody cares, right? And then we just get so frustrated. Why did I even put in the work anyway? And then the anecdote ends up becoming work less, but that doesn't feel good because you're a high achieving woman and you have high standards and you know what you're meant to be doing in this world. And so then you get very frustrated, right? You see kind of where this is going. So let me give you an example. So there was a woman that I had worked with one-on-one in my Leadership Table Jumpstart, the program where we solve a big problem in a short amount of time. And she came to me right after this moment of recognizing that her hard work was literally getting her nowhere. So she created a back-end system for her organization, right? So it was actually a formula, a software or something that she did to create a process, a repeatable process that she could roll out across her entire organization. And it was really cool because she pitched it to several executives and they loved this idea. And they were like, you know what, we really need this capability and this is going to be amazing. And it's really going to transform the organization. And she got permission from her boss. Now, I'm saying she got permission from her boss to work on this project, but she didn't get buy-in from her boss. She just sort of got the thumbs up. Well, basically, like, as long as you can get your other work done, sure, go ahead, knock it out, do this project. Okay? So she rolls out this project and they all look at it and they're just like, wow, this is amazing. This is exactly what we need. We have been looking for something like this for years. Thank you so much. And then she sat there and you know what was funny was people weren't actually using the software. It didn't seem like they were going in. It was like, I need to go back to them and figure out how to get them to actually implement the software. And then she kind of noticed that her boss was kind of getting a little bit annoyed by this desire, not only to create this platform for the organization, but now she's fixated on it, and now it is becoming part of her job, and she wants to make sure now more people know about it and more people are rolling it out. And she kept saying to me, but the executives, they wanted it. They said they wanted it, and it was a good idea, right? And she was like so confused why she wasn't getting the actual feedback that she wanted, which was for people to use this platform, right? So she was completely confused. She wasn't making the impact. And this is like right when we started working together, she noticed that her boss was getting more and more annoyed with her. And this is bad, right? She was like, oh my gosh, I think my boss is like annoyed with me. I think my boss is mad at me. My boss wants me to stop talking about this. And then before she knew it, she got called into her boss's office and they actually pulled the project out from under her and gave it to somebody else to implement, right? They took it away from her. Her baby, the thing that she had created from scratch, built it from the ground up because nobody else had this idea. Nobody else could even come up with this capability, which is amazing in and of itself. That's incredible that we as women leaders can create something from scratch that is truly going to be revolutionary and change our organizations. It's fantastic. But if we don't have that buy-in and we don't actually have people set up who actually want to use that capability, then we're basically in a losing game. Unfortunately, fast forward a month later, she was actually let go from her organization. And she said to me, I don't know why no one called me. I don't know why no one else pulled me in or reached out to me. It's like she had single-handedly burned bridges by doing something that was going to help the organization. And so today's episode is a wake-up call. If you feel like you're working on something and you're not getting quite the feedback that you want around it, it seems like maybe in words people think it's a good idea, but nobody wants to get behind it. Nobody really wants to back it. Then you have to figure out a way to, one, before you even build it, to get that actual buy-in. I coached her in retrospect because unfortunately it was too late when she came to me, how to get that buy-in, right? And that was some of what she was kind of scrambling to do at the last minute, was because they have to know that this is their idea. They have to know, not from a credit standpoint, but you have to know that it aligns with their words, with their goals. I'm going to tie this in to another story from a woman who did something very similar. So she was the head of her department. Anything that she worked on was incredibly important to her. These are all initiatives that mattered to her. She was very, very good at her job. And what she would do is she'd talk to senior leadership and they would go, that's great. Yeah, go do that. That's wonderful. You do you, right? And she's like, okay, great. They don't really seem to care, but I'm going to keep doing it because I have, support from leadership. And I'm like, you don't really have support from leadership. Basically, what leadership is telling you is go do your job, right? So at that vice president level, it's expected that you're going to do those things. But those things that you're doing, in some ways, they can make a huge impact on your team and you can grow your group and all of those things. And that can be really wonderful and make you feel very proud. And I think all of that for a lot of women is enough, right? And I think that's fantastic. But she was feeling like she had been stuck at the director level for so long and she knew she was good at her job. She wasn't getting any more growth opportunities and everybody seemed to keep saying she's doing a good job. But she was like, nobody's really listening to me. And it sort of feels like the work that we're doing is not important to the organization. So here's your homework. This is what this is what you're going to do. This is what I told her to do. And I'll fast forward to the end. It works, right? So you can pause it, go grab your notepad and write this down, okay? So I said, all right, you're going to start scheduling meetings with your boss's boss, right? And I want you to go all the way to the C-suite and you're going to figure out what matters to him, all right? And he is going to say words, not about your function. You're not going to talk about the work that you're doing and how amazing it is and get more pats on the back. You want to learn what his goals are, what matters to him, what he's trying to accomplish. And then you're going to align the work that you're doing with those goals, with his goals, not your goals, his goals. Do you see this? Do you see how different that is than what you might be doing, especially if you aren't getting recognized, especially if you're just getting thumbs up, but not really getting anywhere, right? So you're going to align with his goals. and show how the work you're doing helps his goals. So then she kept these meetings going. And of course, she's just talking about his goals, not all this amazing work that she's doing, but just really kind of listening, being available, chiming in as needed. And guess what? He pulled her into a special project. In this particular case, it changed the trajectory of her career. This single special project was so important to the organization. It was very important to the C-suite leader. It was directly from the CEO. Every single thing that she was about to accomplish in this particular project was going to be seen and welcomed throughout the entire organization. As soon as she started on that project, she instantly noticed like the error of her ways, right? Where she had been going wrong all along. Because she was like, Stacy, I have been shouting and talking and trying to convince when I needed to just be on the leadership team. She still didn't have that promotion to that VP level, but she was being included with other C-suite leaders. She was being called in to give her ideas to other C-suite leaders. She was working on a project that was actually in front of other C-suite leaders. And do you know what she didn't do? She didn't go down in the weeds. She didn't like work 70-hour days. She just kept being, right? She was that executive leader, and her C-suite boss's boss really appreciated that. Then the ripple effect continued because now her boss is seeing that credibility that she's getting, that recognition that she's getting, and he comes up with an idea for her. He's like, takes full credit. This is my idea. There's an opening in this other department. I know you said you wanted to do more of this. Why don't you talk to them and see if that's something that you could be good at? It's at the senior director level. You can move up. You can move over to that group. You can talk to them about creating a role for you. He gave her permission to grow. As soon as she did that, she was just like, boom, 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 boom. It was outside of her area of expertise, but she was going to be seen as a leader. She was going to be able to lead something that actually mattered to the organization. This is the difference between working your butt off on something that nobody cares about except for you. And again, do it for you. Okay? Do it for you. If you want to have high standards, if you want to create things that are changing the world inside of your organizations, fantastic. But don't expect it to necessarily lead to anything, especially if it doesn't directly align or you can't align it directly with what the executive team actually cares about. Another story. Now, this one's another depressing story, but a VP client of mine, she just landed a CHRO position. So now she has left her current organization and moved into another company. And she was telling me just the other day, she said, one of the first things they did when I left was like get rid of all of the systems and processes I created and worked so hard to create. And that was upsetting, but she was like, well, I'm glad I'm not there anymore. So if this resonates with you, if this feels like, oh my gosh, this is completely me, I want you to take something to heart. I want you to say, okay, Stacy, you're right. I am working on the wrong things. It is part of my job, and I just like to do my job well. I like to overdeliver. And again, I'll remind you, that's fine. You can totally do that. But I also want you to open up your eyes to realize that a lot of this extra work that you're doing is not necessary. So you can begin to ask yourself, if I wasn't getting paid for this, would I still do it? Would I put in all of this extra effort? And sometimes the answer is yes, because I care, because it matters. But if the answer is no, if you're doing it with that tinge of like, I need to prove myself, I hope somebody notices me, I hope they see me finally and bring me into the conversation, it's important to stop for a second and to say, does anybody actually care about the work that I'm doing? Does anybody actually care? And if they don't, then you have two choices. You make them care, but not in that sense like that first client who got all the pats on the back and the buy-in, like, yay, I like it. But make them care as in align it with their initiatives, or you let it go and you figure out, okay, what is that minimum viable effort that I need to put into this project to not get fired so that I'm actually doing my job well. But I don't need to be going above and beyond, super beyond in the work that I'm doing. And you will begin to feel this relief, this freedom. And then what I want you to do is look up, figure out what your boss's boss's boss, what your CEO cares about, what all of the C-suite cares about. Use my 15-minute ally meeting process to get in there, have these conversations, and then start getting your work aligned, like actually aligned with this executive leadership team. This is also executive communication. This is political savviness. This is being even better than better at your job. If you want to get not just exceeds expectations on your performance review, but you actually want to get that promotion, you actually want to have that opportunity where someone says, I think you'd be super valuable on our team, then you need to start aligning the work that you're doing with what matters to them. All right, my friends, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Women Changing Leadership with Stacy Mayer. If you enjoyed this episode, you are absolutely going to love and benefit from the work that we're doing inside of the Women's Leadership Accelerator. This month-to-month membership program is unlike anything else in the market. We are single-handedly flipping the unemployment rates on their head. It is the only place on the internet where you can actually get yourself not only a job offer, but one that has a higher salary, a higher title, and more recognition and influence than you ever could have imagined in your career. Inside the Women's Leadership Accelerator, we are getting women promoted. We are getting them multiple higher level job offers. And I want that to happen for you. Join us in this one-of-a-kind program. You're going to get coaching directly from me, my executive mentors who are also hiring managers who are doing the work, who have worked with me personally for the past 3 to 5 years. We are here inside of this accelerator program to work with you personally to begin to elevate your leadership to that next level. This is exactly what you have been looking for, and I am here to deliver it to you. Best thing, it's month to month. So you can come in, join us, get access to all of my training materials, my weekly live interactive calls, and you can begin to bring your friends into this community. It is the most corporate badass community on the market. I can't wait to see you in there. Go to authenticallypowerfulwomen.com. We are changing the face of the leadership table, one promotion at a time. I can't wait to see you there.